In an ancient kingdom hidden between the mountains, there lived a king who believed something terrifying. He believed his people had become weak, not weak in body, weak in spirit. The rich blamed others for every inconvenience. The powerful cared only about comfort. And even the soldiers had started avoiding responsibility. So one day, that king created a test, a simple test, a giant stone, a narrow road, and a hidden reward. But what happened next would change the future of the kingdom forever, because among hundreds of wealthy men, warriors, merchants, and nobles, only one person chose to face the obstacle, and he was the poorest man of them all. Long ago, there was a kingdom known as Valoria. Its cities were beautiful, its markets were filled with gold, silk, and spices from distant lands. Its armies were feared across neighboring nations, and at the center of the kingdom stood King Aldrich, a ruler respected for his intelligence and discipline. Unlike many kings, Aldrich did not enjoy luxury. While nobles spent their nights drinking wine and celebrating, Aldrich walked through villages in disguise. He listened, he observed, and slowly he began noticing something disturbing. The people complained constantly. Farmers blamed the weather, merchants blamed taxes, soldiers blamed commanders, workers blamed fate. Nobody accepted responsibility anymore. Whenever a problem appeared, people waited for someone else to solve it. One cold evening, King Aldrich stood on the palace balcony beside his old advisor, Cedric. Rain fell across the city. Below them, people argued in the streets over a broken cart blocking traffic. Nobody helped. Everyone shouted. Nobody acted. The king watched silently. Then he spoke. Look at them. A simple cart stops an entire road, yet dozens stand there doing nothing. Cedric looked down calmly. People reveal their true character when faced with inconvenience. The king frowned. This kingdom once produced brave men. Now it produces complainers. Cedric turned towards him. Then test them, your majesty. The king looked at him. Cedric, create an obstacle and watch who steps forward. Those words stayed in the king's mind all night, and before sunrise, King Aldrich put a plan into motion. Before dawn, royal guards carried a massive stone to the narrow mountain road leading into the capital. It was enormous, large enough to stop wagons, large enough to block horses, large enough that nobody could ignore it. After placing the stone in the center of the road, the guards disappeared. Then King Aldrich and Cedric hid behind nearby trees to watch. Morning arrived. The first travelers appeared as sunlight touched the mountains. A group of wealthy merchants approached the road riding decorated horses. They stopped immediately. Merchant, what nonsense is this? Another merchant sighed loudly. Merchant 2, the roads of this kingdom worsen every year. A third merchant laughed. Probably lazy workers again. The men argued for several minutes. Then, one by one, they guided their horses around the stone and continued on. None of them touched it. Hours later, royal officers arrived. Their wagons struggled to pass. The officers became furious. Who allowed this road to become blocked? Another officer shrugged. Not our responsibility. They too went around the obstacle. By midday, dozens more travelers passed. Some cursed, some complained, some mocked the kingdom, but nobody attempted to move the stone. Hidden nearby, King Aldrich watched in silence. His disappointment grew heavier with every passing hour, because the obstacle was not impossible. It was simply difficult, and difficult things frightened people. Late in the afternoon, two brothers approached the road. Their names were Rowan and Elias. Both were poor woodcutters from a nearby village. Their clothes were torn. Their hands were rough from labor. When Rowan saw the stone, he stopped. We should move it. Elias looked at the giant rock and laughed. Move that? Are you insane? Rowan stared at the blocked road. Travelers were struggling to pass. An old man nearly fell beside a wagon. A woman carrying water had to climb dangerously close to the cliff edge. Rowan stepped toward the stone, but Elias grabbed his arm. Elias, leave it! This is not our problem. Rowan hesitated. He looked exhausted. They had spent the entire day cutting wood in the forest. His shoulders ached, his hands were bleeding. Still, he could not stop staring at the stone. Finally, he placed his bundle of wood on the ground. If everyone walks away, then nothing changes. Elias shook his head. You waste your energy on problems that belong to others. Then Elias walked away, leaving Rowan alone. Rowan stood before the giant stone. The road was quiet now. Most travelers had already passed. The mountain wind blew dust across the ground. For a moment, he doubted himself. The stone was enormous. Impossible, perhaps, but Rowan took a deep breath and pushed. Nothing happened. The rock did not move even an inch. Rowan stepped back, breathing heavily. Sweat rolled down his face. In the distance, he could hear Elias shouting, "I told you it's useless!" But Rowan ignored him. He pushed again. This time the stone shifted slightly, just a little, but enough. Rowan's eyes widened, so he pushed harder, again and again and again. His muscles burned, his legs trembled. The rough surface tore the skin from his hands. Still he continued. Minutes passed. Then suddenly, with one final effort, the massive stone rolled away from the road. Dust exploded into the air. The path was clear. Rowan collapsed to his knees, exhausted, and that was when he noticed something strange. Beneath the stone, there was a wooden chest, small, locked, covered in dirt. Rowan stared at it in confusion. Slowly, he opened it. Inside were gold coins, jewels, and a folded letter bearing the royal seal. Rowan's hands shook as he opened it. The message read, "To the one who moved the obstacle, this reward belongs to you, because the people who choose responsibility over excuses are the ones worthy of building the future of this kingdom." Rowan stared at the letter in silence. Then suddenly he heard footsteps behind him. King Aldrich emerged from the trees. Rowan immediately dropped to his knees. He had no idea the king had been watching. King Aldrich approached slowly. He looked at Rowan's bleeding hands, then at the cleared road, then at the chest. For a long moment, the king said nothing. Finally, he spoke. "Do you know how many people pass this road today?" Rowan shook his head. "Hundreds. Merchants, officers, nobles, men with wealth and power." The king looked directly into Rowan's eyes, yet none of them moved the stone. Rowan lowered his head. "I only wanted to clear the path." The king smiled slightly. "And that is exactly why you succeeded." Cedric stepped forward from the shadows. The old advisor looked pleased. "Most people search for comfort. Very few search for responsibility." King Aldrich turned toward Rowan. "Tell me, why did you stay when your brother left?" Rowan looked toward the mountains. "Because if everyone leaves problems for others, then, eventually, the whole kingdom suffers." For the first time that day, King Aldrich truly smiled. Not because the road was clear, but because he had finally found someone different. Someone willing to act while others complained. And in that moment, the king made a decision. The next morning, Rowan was summoned to the royal palace. He entered nervously. The marble floors, the giant pillars, the royal guards. Everything felt unreal. King Aldrich sat upon the throne. The court was silent. Then the king stood. Yesterday, many powerful men failed a simple test, but a poor woodcutter passed it. The nobles looked embarrassed. Some lowered their heads. Others looked angry. The king continued. "A kingdom does not become strong because of wealth. It becomes strong because of character." Then he looked at Rowan. "From this day forward, you will work beside my royal engineers. You will help rebuild the roads of Valoria." The court gasped. A poor woodcutter had been offered a royal position, not because of status, not because of family, but because he chose action over excuses. Years later, people across the kingdom spoke about the road of the Great Stone, not because of the obstacle itself, but because of the man who stopped running from it. And slowly, the story spread from village to village. Parents told it to their children, teachers told it to students, soldiers told it to new recruits, because the lesson was simple. Obstacles reveal character. Some people walk around problems, some people complain about them, and a few rare individuals choose to face them. Those are the people who change kingdoms. Those are the people history remembers. And maybe, right now, life has placed a stone in your path too. The question is not whether the obstacle is unfair. The real question is, will you walk away from it, or will you push?